Hello everyone, on this episode of Kindred Spirits, Anti-Gravity Racing Games. The first racing game we will take a look at is F-Zero. It was both developed and published by Nintendo and released for the North American Super Nintendo in 1991. In the game, your task is to pilot a futuristic anti-gravity racing machine across different intergalactic tracks. Both the machines and tracks are sponsored by multi-billionaires from different parts of the universe. You start off by choosing a machine from the 4 available and their related driver. Each driver-machine combo has a different set of attributes. The Blue Falcon, driven by the bounty hunter Captain Falcon, is the most overall balanced machine. The Golden Fox, driven by Dr. Robert Stewart, is the fastest accelerating machine, but it cannot withstand a lot of damage. The Wild Goose, driven by an alien named Pico, is the most damage-resistant machine. The Fire Stingray, driven by Samurai Gora, has the fastest top speed with the slowest acceleration. Each driver-machine combo has their own noticeably unique feel when racing around the track. Depending on the machine you choose, like with the heavier ones, you can be more aggressive and pushy towards other racers. Or if you like the feel of the lighter machines, you may be better off avoiding other racers, as a shoving match will send you flying towards the walls. There are 3 different race leagues and 3 classes of difficulty you can choose from. Your choices will affect the challenge of the game by adding different track variations or upping the skill of the AI opponents. If some of the generic opponents that explode on impact don't get you, then the hazards that are added onto later tracks will. With crosswinds, mines, magnetic strips, and massive mid-air jumps, you will be put on the edge of your seat while just trying to complete one of the required laps. If you do manage to make a full loop and have some damage, there is a pit area near the lap line you can drive over for some repairs. Adding to the stress of the race, you must cross the line at or below a minimum position for each lap. 15th for lap 1, 10th for lap 2, 7th for lap 3, 5th for lap 4, and at least 3rd for last lap. If you fail to do this, your current machine will be disqualified. You get 2 extra machines at the start and can earn up to 5 total from accumulated points. With the fast scrolling of the tracks under your machine, coupled with the smooth rotation of the backgrounds as you make your turns, the game has a great sense of speed. Lots of bright colors and off-track animations give the worlds you race on some form of life down below the racing surface. Landscapes for the tracks range from the futuristic Mute City to the dry deserts of the Sand Ocean, and even includes the standard water or green vegetation-only planets. Making use of the Super Nintendo's SMP chip, you get high-quality stereo sound with left and right panning of passing machines complemented with a nice Doppler effect, and an amazing soundtrack to boost your adrenaline levels. Even though it's a single-player only game, F-Zero is almost as fun watching someone else run the courses as it is to be the actual player. Released in 1995 for the Sony PlayStation and again in 1996 for the Sega Saturn, Wipeout is the first in a long-running series of anti-gravity racing games first developed and published by Psygnosis. In the year 2052, anti-gravity racing has become the world's biggest sport. It is your job to pilot an anti-gravity racer for your current team with the main goal of finishing in the top 3 to move on to the next track. From the 4 competing teams, you will pick one out of the 2 drivers available from a team with the anti-gravity racer that best suits your driving style. The AG Systems Racer is the most balanced of the 4 machines and a good fit for first-time players. Oricom Research has one of the fastest machines, but is heavier, leading to slower acceleration and less turning control. Kyrex has the fastest top speed machine, but sacrifices both acceleration and turning ability more than Oricon Team's machine. Phasar has the second fastest acceleration time and the best turning ability of all the other machines. However, it is the lightest and has the lowest top speed. After a short adjustment period to how floaty the anti-gravity racers feel, you will notice that they control very tightly even if you are stuck using the D-pad. As you round corners and make hairpin turns, you will need to master the left and right air brakes to keep from scraping the walls and losing speed. You and your opponents can gain either an offensive or defensive power-up while flying over markers on the track. Don't worry too much about the weapons of your opponents. Instead, worry about them trying to cut you off constantly while passing. Putting a somewhat cheap AI aside, the racing is about 90% of the gameplay, while 10% of it is weapon usage. As stated earlier, you must finish in at least third place or better to continue on to the next track. If you place fourth or greater, you will lose one of your 3 lives and have to re-race the same track again. However, if you finish all of your races in first place, you'll move up to the next higher ranked class of races. Artistically, this over 20-year-old game still looks great. Signs, billboards, and massive spectator seating areas give off an at-the-racetrack vibe. The tracks and anti-gravity racers look futuristic in design without being campy or over the top. At 30 frames per second, the scrolling of graphics is still smooth, but an occasional drop of the frame rate is more noticeable than normal. Draw distance is also fairly short, although still far enough away as not to surprise you with an out-of-nowhere curve or jump. While we did play the game in third-person mode, there is a first-person mode for that in-the-seat wild ride experience. Cheering crowds, whirling engines, weapon launches, and impacts all fit into the soundscape of this futuristic racer. Vocal callouts warn you of incoming attacks, while thumps and scrapes let you know the track is tougher than your machine when you make a mistake. The techno-style music is high energy and thumping, yet not overpowering and distracting from the action on the screen. Wipeout is still a great gaming experience that holds up today against more modern racers, and even some of its very own sequels. Jet Moto was developed by SingleTrac and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the North American PlayStation market in 1996. You start by picking a rider who is part of a sponsored team. Each rider has their own backstory and a reason for racing. The rider's jets have different stats that show how well a machine will handle, accelerate, lift when airborne, and mass, which helps out when you get into shoving matches with other racers. Learning to control the hoverbike is fairly easy. You have acceleration, braking, turbos, and also a grappling hook, which can be used to anchor onto certain markers, allowing tight curves while keeping your speed up. You can use the shoulder buttons to help take corners by shifting the roll of your jet, but if you lean too much, you can fall off. Jet Moto is a very challenging game as it has a mix of intricate and tricky tracks with 19 AI racers that never back down under pressure. If you fall behind, you will have to fight to regain your position as there seems to be no player speed assists, which most other racing games have built in. Tracks will need to be replayed, memorized, and expertly navigated for success. If you are looking for that feeling of a hard-earned victory through anger and tears, Jet Moto is the answer. Or, if you are prone to rage quitting and breaking controllers, Jet Moto might not be the game for you. Looking somewhat pixelated and harsh, the game does not have a lot of eye candy. Even when it was first released, other games of the time had better visuals. Large text on the other riders' gear is unreadable, and 2D sprites make up some of the objects on screen. Some slowdowns can occur, and texture stitching can be worse on some tracks more than others. A sad reminder of what would be coming to the future of gaming is the fact that all the advertisements for real-life products, like Nestle, seem to be the cleanest and highest quality of the in-game graphics. But not all is bad. The environments and the tracks do look unique to the game and can have a mix of surfaces you travel over in a single race. Also, the reflections on some of the water-based tracks actually look really good. The sound effects for the bikes and riders are above average, with nothing being annoying or harsh. A mix of surfer rock and symphonic-style background music adds to the game's list of unique qualities. Jet Moto is proof that graphics don't make a game, and that gameplay and fun are the main priority for an amazing time, even if the difficulty does occasionally make your blood pressure rise. The last game we will look at is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. The versions we will focus on are for the Windows PC, the Nintendo 64, and the Sega Dreamcast, as all were developed by LucasArts. While the other racing games we have reviewed in this video all take place in the future, the events of this game actually take place a long time ago. The goal of this game is very simple. You must compete and survive to at least 4th place, the Pod Racer Challenge, while fighting off dirty, underhanded opponents, tricky track designs, and deadly on-course obstacles. All the racers and their pods from the movie are in the game. Also, with the addition of more opponents to unlock as you win races, you'll eventually have over 20 characters with unique pods to choose from. You start off by choosing your first racer and their related pod. Each racer pod combo has a different set of attributes, such as being faster on the top end, having better turning, or quicker in-race repair time. As you win races and collect currency, you can upgrade your pod's abilities and buy pit droids to repair the damaged parts from previous races. Sticking with the movie, we'll be using Anakin Skywalker for this review. Just like the cinematic universe of Star Wars, the competition takes place on several planets, mostly made up of one type of biome. From a desert planet like Tatooine, the water planet Aquilaris, each location has its own unique look. The Dreamcast and PC versions will greet you with a short intro video of the planet, also telling you who is the host of the race and the current record holder of the track. In all 3 versions, piloting the pod feels great with both an analog stick or D-pad controller. You can make changes to the input commands in the options menu if needed. The feeling of speed as you race across the tracks is helped by both the great track design and placement of objects and structures near the course. The game HUD is minimal. However, you can change what info is shown with the press of a button or a key. A damage display will pop up to show what sections of your pod are in need of repair or are overheating. From the slightly low polygon blocky characters with limited stiff motions, to the blurry texture wraps on the pods and repeated patterns on the terrain you race in, the graphics have early 3D design markings all over them. The sound effects are excellent. From the unique sound of each pod and its pilot, to the ambiance of each world's natural atmosphere, such as passing waterfalls or the windy howls of valleys and canyons, this side of the universe never sounded so good. The only complaint is the music can sometimes be buried in the background, or worse, as with the Nintendo 64 version, completely missing during the first few laps of the race. Regardless of what version you have access to, the racing aspect was made a priority in each game. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is an excellent game from start to finish. If you like this moving set of drawings, please consider hitting the like stone and subscribing to our pack. Every notch helps. Thanks for watching, and see you next time in the past.